to be about the geography of China. All right. You guys will have a quiz specifically on Friday, February the 5th. We have done this assignment since January 28th. Okay. And there will be a quiz on this. Again, a quiz on Friday, February the 5th. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, which assignment, it should be right here, Geography of China. All right? You were supposed to read this to answer this, but I'm going to go over each answer. All right? If you weren't here on Tuesday, February the 2nd, this is what we did. I gave out the full answers, and we read portions as from the groups. Okay? So, the first area that we're looking at, the geographic area, is in outer China, and is the Tibetan Plateau. All right? Nicknamed the roof of the world, the third pole, and the Asian water tower. The average elevation is it's 14,800 feet. The highest will be 16,000 feet above sea level. Every year, it grows around 5 millimeters per year. Okay, 5 millimeters. So it's still growing. The mountains are still, little by little, they're going to keep on growing. Of course, it'll take thousands of years to, to see the change, maybe before and after. But still, it's still growing. Now, the plateau is also the largest. This Tibetan Plateau, because there are plateaus all around the world, even in the U.S., it is the largest in the whole world. It's not only the tallest, but the largest in the whole world, with 970,000 square miles. And it is the 4 times the size of France. Okay? You can't really live there. If you could see from the picture here, you can't really live there. All right? The harshness of outer China can easily be seen in the Tibetan Plateau. Winter temperatures brutally hit negative 22 degrees Fahrenheit. Freezing temperatures are very common in the summer. Despite this region, the region was home to a thriving kingdom that began in the 8th century and developed into an independent country. Today, China maintains firm control in this area known as Tibet. All right? But you couldn't really live there. If you see this passage right here, it explains why. You can't grow crops, so you would have to rely on roaming animals such as yaks and goats, which you will feed off their meat and use their fur to be warm. Okay? Since the animals roamed, the early settlers were forced to live a nomadic lifestyle. All right? Another important thing, and this is the most important thing I want you guys to remember. The plateau is, as you can see, it has water. It has snow. The snow melts and it creates water. That snow is responsible for creating these rivers right here, which you'll learn about in just a sec as well. The Yangtze River and the Yellow River. Okay, 2 of China's greatest rivers, and it is responsible for providing water for over 2 billion people. Okay, and over a dozen countries. So if you guys don't remember, China has a population of 1.39 billion people, and India has a population of 1.36 billion people. Not millions, but billions. All right, it provides water for Pakistan, India, Nepal, Bangladesh, Bhutan, Burma, Thailand, Cambodia, Laos, and Vietnam partially, towards the tip of it. And not least but not least, China. Okay, that's why it's very important. So I'm going to ask you guys, why is the Tibetan Plateau important? You're going to tell me because it provides water for over 2 billion people. Okay, it provides water for many different rivers around Asia. And if you guys want the answer to that, it's right here. By the way, so if you want to copy this, put pause right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the deserts. I'll talk about that in just a sec. But you see right here, all right? This is the very important key one right here that I'm going to ask you guys about. All right? Very dry despite providing waters and rivers and a water source for over 2 billion people. And I forgot to put people. Million people. All right, and how do they live? They relied on roaming animals like yaks and goats, with their fur and milk, and it kept settlers alive. Don't forget, don't be like Mr. Luna, and don't forget the period. All right, practice makes perfect. Now, the next one is going to be the deserts. Okay, here they are. The two great deserts, the only ones I really want you to remember are the Taklamakan and the Gobi Desert. The Taklamakan and the Gobi Desert. All right, one is larger than the other. The Taklamakan is 130,000 square miles, and the Gobi Desert is over 500,000, so it's almost double the size. However, as if you read here, don't let its size fool you. The Taklamakan Desert is considered to be one of the most dangerous deserts in the world, according to the National Geographic magazine. It is the most sorry. It is the most deadly stretch along the legendary Silk Road, the desert into which entire caravans disappeared without a trace. To locals, the name Taklamakan has come to mean if you go in, you don't come out. Okay, we talked about the Sahara Desert with West Africa. This is the deadliest in Asia. All right, and why it's very important is because it's one of only two deserts in China, and also it crosses through the legendary Silk Road. So you guys might not know the importance right now about the Silk Road, but we're gonna look into it. If you guys remember, West Africa had the gold mines, and it was a secret. Well, they had the in China they had silk, and they had how they produced the silk was a secret, and how they traded the silk was through these roads. I'll try to show you guys a map. Let's see. Silk Road map. Let's try that. Right? You see how far it goes? It goes from here all the way to here. Okay, here all the way to here. And it's northwest, so it's around here. Those two deserts are right here. Okay? And here's the information. How do they live? Just like the Arabs, they live in oasis towns. All right, that's a key word. Everything that I teach you about in geography, it could possibly relate to another civilization. So try to remember these key words, guys. Oasis towns. All right. So here are 5 different things I want you to remember. Taklamakan Desert, very large and one of the most dangerous in the world. Huge sand dunes and blowing winds. And that should be actually 4. I just didn't relate. Yeah. The Gobi Desert is gravel-based, not sandy. So the Gobi, it's not sandy at all, like the typical deserts. It's very cold, unlike the Taklamakan. So this one's very hot, and this one is very cold. It's northwest. They're both northwest of China. I just showed you guys on a map with Silk Roads. And the major trade route known as the Silk Road crosses through these deserts. Now, how did they live? How do people in ancient China live? Specifically on the time period that we're learning, from 200 all the way to like the 1400s. They had oasis towns and they thrived in the Taklamakan Desert, but life outside those oasis towns was impossible. If you guys remember here in the reading, they said, if you go in the desert, you won't come out the desert. Okay? The next one we're going to look at is the Manchurian Plain. There isn't too much information that I want you guys to remember. Okay? I'll just show you guys a picture and then I'll give you guys the information. The most important thing for this class will just be right here. All right. Located north of present-day Korea and east of present-day Mongolia, the Manchurian Plain was actually once part of the Mongol Empire in the mid-1200s CE. If you guys don't remember what CE, that's Common Era. All right. Korea is very important because the U.S. has had tensions, kind of like a little Cold War with them. The U.S. is afraid that they will produce nuclear weapons. Many believe they already have, and the Manchurian Plains right here. And we're also going to learn about the Mongols. All right, it's an actual country today, the Mongolia. We're going to learn about Genghis Khan. He was one of the deadliest, leaders of all of history. He was responsible for killing over 40 million people. Okay, and it's right here. So this is northeast of China. All right, and also Japan, which is around this area, invaded China at first by attacking Manchuria, which is the Manchurian Plain. Okay? And the answer for this will be right here. Basically, the vegetation that I really want you to that the key points for this is that it was dominated by low hills, natural vegetation, and easy access to the East China Sea. Okay, the East China Sea is right here. A better picture will be right here. Okay, not ideal for crops, grazing vegetation, allowed for grazing animals. So you couldn't really grow there as much because of the hills, right, and the temperature. You couldn't really grow there. So you would just have to be living as nomads and relying on animals. The rivers sprawls throughout the entire plain, and they're ranging from very humid to dry, windy to inconsistent for crops. Also, something I want you guys to remember is that it's north of present-day Korea. All right, so go ahead and pause right here and copy it down. Once you're done, unpause, and then we'll go. How did they live? Nomadic tribes followed herds. Whoa. Followed herds of sheep, yaks, horses for survival, wool, and meat. Okay, that's what you put in this bottom box. Number, the the fourth box, the Yellow River. It's one of the three rivers I want you guys to remember. It's one of the two great rivers are the Yellow River and the Yangtze River. But another river that's very important for China is the Pearl River. Okay, the Yellow River, as you guys can see in the formation, annual flooding provides very fertile river basin, grasslands for grazing animals. For that one, it's okay if you just have these three. Ideal environment for crops, corn, cotton, millet, and etc. And has moderate temperatures. All right. So as you see, annual flooding. What's very sad about this that back then they didn't know how to control the flooding. If you read right here, the river has flooded over 1,000 times and has brought much death and destruction throughout the region. The main reasons of the flood occur is due to the silt that settles in the bottom of the river, thus causing water levels to rise. That silt also makes the water turn yellow, okay? Thus causing water to rise. One of the worst floods occurred in 1887 and killed an estimated 900,000 people. So that's something else I wanted everyone to include. If you already turned it in, that's fine. 900,000 people were killed in the flood of I believe it's 1887, right? Yeah, 1887. All right, so copy that. Pause it, copy. Once you're done, go to the next one. The region was highly sought after and guarded. First Great Wall was built to protect from invaders. We're going to talk about the Wall of China. Provide water power to millions today, and by that, hydroelectric power. If you didn't know, basically the water that it uses, they use the current to create electricity. So it also provides water and it provides electricity. One of the most most populated regions today. Okay, so it is very populated because of course you need a water source to live off. The floods though have caused mass destruction, as you guys have seen right here. Okay, so put pause and copy that. And the next one is the Yangtze River. Okay, this is one of the most important rivers as well. Of course, this one, a lot of people live there. But 1/3 of China's population lives right here in this one. Okay, again, the Yangtze River. The information is here. But I'm going to expand on it right here. Okay, so it is known as the longest river in Asia. Okay, this makes the Changjiang, which is basically the translation, Yangtze River, the longest river in all of Asia and the third longest in the world. So the first river will be the Nile River, which is in Africa. The second one will be the Amazon River, which is in Brazil, and the third largest in the world would be here, the Yangtze River. Okay, but however, I do want you guys to remember that it's the longest river in all of Asia and the third longest in the world. In fact, its name translates to literally mean long river. The length of the Great River has led to the basin having some of the highest levels of biodiversity in the entire world, ranging from dense forests to fertile wetlands. Okay, so basically there is a vast amount of different kind of climates around the river. All right, and it talks about it right here. Something that has been very sad, of course, It creates it has created basically destruction. All right. For example, in 1931, the Yangtze River floods are some of the worst on record. Over 2 feet of rain fell from July to August 1931, and the devastating result ended with between 3.7 and 4 million people dying. So in the span of 2 months, 3.7 to 4 million people died. Okay, in 1931. And what is sad is around the same time, 2 months afterwards, well, in August 1931, that happened, and then September 1931, Japan actually invaded Manchuria, which is right here. Okay, but so they were facing war, and they were also facing 4 million people dying due to the floods. However, they have created the Gorges Dam, the Three Gorges Dam, to basically make sure to prevent flooding. Okay, now I'll show you guys right here. The river attracted many ancient people to settle along its banks, of course, because it's its water source. You get fish and all that. Home to 1/3 of China's population today, and has provided fresh drinking water to ancient and modern people. The next one is very important here as well, right? I won't go back to this, but the Pearl River is the third river. Consistent and moderate climate, plenty of rainfall, good region to grow rice both today and in ancient times. However, the most important thing I want you guys to remember is because due to the water and the basin of the river, it provides a gold mine for silkworms to be born. Okay, that's supposed to be silkworms. All right, silkworms are what creates silk, and that became their gold mine. That became basically their bread and butter. That's how they got their money off of for a while. The silkworms, and that's why the Pearl River is important. You could just follow this right here, and then we'll stop. From the variety of crops, ideal climate for silkworms that cause people to trade the valuable resource. All right, so that's how people in this area made their money. They would just trade it along the Silk Road. Okay, so basically, remember the three different rivers. Remember that there are three different rivers. Name the three different rivers. Tell me why these two are important. Okay, specifically the longest river, and because of the silkworms. The Yellow River, not as much. The Manchurian Plain, not as much. But definitely the Tibetan Plain and the desert. So basically remember slides 3 and 5. Those will definitely help you for the quiz. Alright, it's going to be open notes. Other than that, you guys are good to go. Go ahead and turn it in and stop along the video if you need to go back. Just